Industrial parks are one of the most important factors supporting positive economic development. One of the objectives of establishing industrial parks is to attract foreign direct investment, FDI. Studies have shown that many industrial parks have been successful in generating exports and employment. On the other hand, steep rise in building material prices increases construction costs. Well, how big is this concern? I'm Zahir Kelvin Abdullah, and this is Money Matters. What makes a good industrial park? Some factors include labor, transportation, government incentives, construction costs and design, financing, and close proximity to large populations of customers. Now let's get to the details with UMW Development's Sindiran Berhad. Its Group Director for Property and Development, Eric Chew, is right here with us in the studios. It's a pleasure having you with us. Now, could you give us a quick introduction to UMW Development, Sindiran Berhad?
Right, sure. UMW Development is a wholly owned subsidiary of UMW Holdings Berhad. Right, so basically we are the developer of the 861 acres of a premium industrial park in Serenda, which is next to Serenda in the Perodua plant. Yes, so basically we started this project way back in 2017, and our key catalyst is one of our anchor tenant, UMW Aerospace. Right, we started running in 2017, which we have a contract, 30 years contract with Rolls-Royce, and we use that as a catalyst to develop the industrial park.
Right. So how did you get this contract from Rolls-Royce? Because this is something quite unheard of in the region.
It's amazing that we have the support of the government, right? So basically it's G2G, and we signed the contract way back in 2015. And we started constructing the factory in 2016 and started production in 2017, basically.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Can we move on to industrial parks? Because industrial parks have been in existence for many decades now. So how is the market for industrial parks shaping up in Malaysia? Right,
it's getting exciting. I think we did benchmark when we was doing the conceptual for the whole master plan. We did benchmark study to Europe, Singapore, here and there and everywhere. So basically, we are moving away from the traditional industrial park, right? So ours is like a managed gated guarded industrial park, right? So it's well managed, and we have rules and guidelines we follow. And we are one of the first one that the park is going to be green rated.
Right.
Right. So basically, it's green rating. It's in line with our group strategy to be ESG compliance and net zero compliance by 2050.
Okay. Yep. Now, what are some of the key criteria that investors basically consider when setting up a business in a location like an industrial park?
Right.
What do they look for?
First is location.
Right.
Right. Second one is connectivity. Right. Quality comes through the roads, the rail, airports, and whatnot, all these things. And of course, readiness of your infrastructure, utilities, water, gas pipeline, electricity supplies, and whatnot, all the supplies need to be in place. Right. And the last one, which is almost most sought after, human capital. You can't have a factory without the workers.
Right.
So basically, you must have the human capital support within your industrial park.
Right. It's interesting that you mentioned human capital because due to the COVID-19 pandemic, there have been challenges for every industry. So in terms of getting human capital, what were the challenges that you had to face?
Well, during the pandemic, I mean, there was total lockdown on these things. We was having a very difficult time to connect our investors to all these things. But in terms of human capital, just to quote you, when we started our what we call Fancase Aerospace Factory, we have only a few workers. So we were working in tandem with Mara, started training, and all the human capitals in place to have all the specialist workers in our aerospace. So basically, we have to work with agencies like Mara and etc. To create these highly technical skilled workers. I mean, Kelvin, we're not talking about skilled workers. We're talking about highly skilled workers now, in line with Industry 4.0.
Now, Eric, speaking about what you mentioned earlier about UMW's high-value manufacturing park in Serenda, it is designed to be the future of high-value manufacturing in Southeast Asia. So basically, what's so unique about this park?
Well, it's the complete ecosystem that we provide. Right? Besides that, we screen through all our investors, make sure they are clean manufacturer, and play within the ecosystem, right? High-value manufacturing is always about the processes, the Industry 4.0. So therefore, it links back to your human capital. With high-value manufacturing, you will require lesser workforce as compared to the traditional workforce and all these things, right? So probably all this requires special training, right? And it's about improving, taking the next level in the manufacturing system. Yeah.
Right. So now UMW is actively seeking and supporting collaboration across key focus technologies for high-value manufacturing, as you mentioned.
Yes.
So what is the progress so far?
Well, it's progressing very well, right? So basically, with our existing contract with Rolls-Royce on high-value manufacturing, we have another anchor tenant who's coming in, who is doing what we call high-value metal treatments for aerospace industry and automotive as well.
Right.
So we do have quite a few inquiries coming in, and as we speak, in terms of FDI, we are in advanced negotiation with one of the big investors coming in from overseas. So these are the people who come in, investing billions of ringgit into the state of Selangor, and of course, job creation. Right.
Now, looking at this, because it's interesting that you mentioned that. So because of the COVID-19 pandemic, did you have to re-strategize your business in terms of attracting more investors coming in?
Definitely, definitely. Because we tell them, look, because of the pandemic, you have to review your processes in manufacturing so that you'll be less dependent on workforce.
Right.
Let machine do the work, robotic and whatnot. Right.
But how did UMW handle your own human capital within the group during the pandemic?
Right. Wow, it's good that you say that. I think we foresee the lockdown was coming very soon, before the declaration of lockdown. So basically, we were started to prepare the work from home. All meetings are virtual, basically. So basically, that year was in year 2020 was tough because all manufacturers are not expanding. So basically, we still keep in touch with them, right? We support them to make sure that there is still, because the pandemic will be over very soon. So we should start looking at now how to transform the way they manufacture so that they'll be less dependent on workforce.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Eric, hold that thought. We just got to go for a very quick commercial break, and we'll be right back right after this. Thanks for staying with Money Matters. We're speaking to Eric Chew, Group Director of Property and Development, UMW Development, Sdn Bhd. Now, Eric, talking about the prices of properties, right?
Yeah.
It could rise in the future due to steep rise in building materials,
Yes.
which is basically increasing construction costs. Now, the recent increase in the overnight policy rate, OPR, is also expected to dampen interest in the property market in some way. So with these factors in place, are we able to see a recovery in the property market for basically the remainder of the year of 2022?
Well, from the point of view of industrial property market, right? So the year end 2022 is going to be very exciting. Yeah. Ever since from Q1 last year until now, we have enjoyed very good inquiries coming in. Basically, manufacturers are very optimistic. Yes, despite the tempo of inflations, rise of material prices and labor costs and all this whatnot, but the outlook in the sentiment of manufacturing is very bright because of supply demand, right? So basically, every manufacturer now is looking at things, lesson learned, what to improve so that it won't get hit during the pandemic. For example, the stocks are low, you have larger warehouse, right? So you modernize your manufacturing or your warehouse system so that you're not dependent on too much of labor.
Right.
Yeah.
So it's interesting you said that because when we had other guests on the program as well, they've said that digitalization has played a very important role.
Yes.
Now, a lot of companies have gone into digitalization because of how the situation was. It was something that they had to basically go into so that they can keep up to date.
True.
Is this something that you're looking at as well with the people that you work with?
Oh, yes. Basically, you have to upgrade yourself before you get left behind. Right. So updating, I think everyone now is be like people going paperless, right? Everything will be signing without actual physical paper. Meetings are all virtual and all these things. So we are conducting our technical meeting, planning meetings all virtual and all these things. So basically, we have to change the way we work. We change the way we shop as well. Yeah.
Have you changed the way you work at UMW Development?
Probably work longer hours now. Well, it's a lot of hybrid. Sometimes we mix between physical and virtual meetings together and all these things, right? So I think we have to, in the light of this pandemic, so basically it's good to be much more better that we can work on flexi hour, flexible location as well. I think that's, everyone's keeping updated about working hours, where you can work, so whatnot, yeah.
Now, it's interesting that you mentioned just now about where the investment in Selangor is, because you said location is very important.
Yes.
So when it concerns property, basically three things matter the most, as they always say, is location, location, location. In Selangor, for example, the state already has 2 airports besides being a strategic location. What do businesses basically look for in a business park, industrial park, for local and foreigners?
Well, especially the foreigners, they would like to be more towards green rated. We have foreigners, FDI coming in to look at, review our park. They're very impressed with our green initiative. I think we're one of the few industrial parks in the market. We have a 50 acres linear park. We have designated jogging path, bicycle tracks, gazebo for barbecue and whatnot. This is towards well-being for the workers who work in this area, our park here. So basically, it's slightly different. Right, green rating is very, very into it now, especially our local manufacturer. I was talking to one of them. They say, "Oh, our overseas customer start asking about us about our ESG compliance." So the buzzword now is ESG compliance, and what more better than our park, which is green rated? Right. Even to our guardhouse is green rated as well. Yeah.
How do you grade a guardhouse to be green rated?
Well, basically, we have a lot of energy efficient. The flushing of our toilet is using rainwater.
Right.
Yeah, so this is a part of saving the water, the power, energy, whatnot. Yeah.
But it's interesting that you have said that as well, because I'm looking at the competitiveness of our neighboring countries, so to speak. It's getting competitive. They are looking at giving similar incentives to the companies. So what do you think can make us still more attractive for these investors?
That's very, very interesting question here, Kelvin. As we have spoken to a lot of foreign investors. Right. Here we like to hopefully, the state and federal government will come up with special tailored incentive for high-profile investors. Not all investors, not all foreign investors, but high-profile, that create unique jobs, high value jobs especially.
Right.
Yeah.
So looking at what you said when you talk about the work culture earlier, you said business parks were basically designed to a 9-to-5 culture, but as you said, digitalization and mobile communication technology now means we are contactable and basically can work everywhere, right?
Yes.
So do you take into account the work culture if you are designing your facilities?
Definitely, because we just completed our campus. We call the Equipment Operation Campus in Srenda. So basically, our division of equipment will be moving to Srenda, the head office. The warehouses, workshop, and whatnot, it's come to about more than 200,000 square feet. Right? Basically, we are manufacturers ourselves. Our core business is manufacturer. We understand the needs, the demand of manufacturers.
Right.
So basically, we create a very conducive environment. We're spending a lot on our soft and hard landscape to make a much more healthy environment for the workers. In fact, our lake are more towards the biofilter.
Right. Now, there appears to be a need to cater to the widest variety of occupiers, for example, in industrial park.
Yes.
And at the same time, like you mentioned, attract high-end organizations to do a business park, development. So how do you strike this balancing act?
Well, to attract all these big multinational companies to the park, besides having your concept or teams, right, we need the support. Right, for example, what we have, Invest Selangor and MIDA is giving us a lot of support, right, to all these, to show that the foreign investors, we have all these state agencies, federal agencies supporting us to make them easier to set up the factories and facilities.
Right.
I mean, we have seen, they are invested, we're investing billions of ringgit, right? So there must be a lot of interest from government to have this incentive assistance as well, so that everything can be streamlined and, very important, fast track, Kelvin.
Right.
Fast track is a buzzword here.
Right.
Yeah.
So hold that thought. We've just got to go very quick and final commercial break. When I come back, I'm going to ask you about the support that you're getting from the Selangor State Government with regards to your businesses. So we'll be back right after this. Stay tuned. You're still with us on Money Matters. Now, Eric, what support does the Selangor business ecosystem offer that is imperative to your business operations?
Invest Selangor is the main focal point for any businesses who want to be expanding or coming into Selangor. Basically, being our partners, in promotion and investment to all what we call investors coming in. We have travel to likes of Singapore, Europe, and other parts of Asia, promoting Selangor. As a group, they've been very, very proactive. Very great assistant in terms of linking what we call investors to us, right? Then be matchmaking the right investors to the right park. So it's been very good to us. Right.
Are you actively engaged with, that as well in terms of what you need?
Yes, once we have much more advanced talk or negotiation with the investors, basically we will have coordination meeting. This is arranged by Invest Selangor. This is super vital because it's kind of like fast track all the approval. We'll have all the agencies, statutory authorities and whatnot. We'll be sitting here ironing out, how to fast track the approval processes so that the investors can complete their what we call factories as soon as possible.
Right.
Basically. Yeah.
Now, looking at how Selangor government or Invest Selangor basically has helped you.
Yeah.
So, looking at the long-term competitiveness of an industrial park, how will the industrial parks basically the sector turn up over the next, say, 3 to 5 years? Will assistance still be needed from the government, or can it be self-sufficient in terms of running?
Well, we constantly need assistance from the government, right? Basically, high-profile multinational investors will need assistance from the government in terms of incentive or grants, which for big investors, and also basically incentive towards tax. I think our neighbor countries are quite well with this. So we do need our government to be much more updated with all these incentive requirements.
Right.
Yeah.
So what about the prospects of Malaysian developers venturing into business park development abroad?
Why not? Selling our brand, UMWHVMPARK brand, right? This is the way the system goes, right? Besides being managed, is the holistic, what we call ecosystem that we create, right? We're not talking about Stone Age development, manufacturing where you have smokes coming out. We talk about clean manufacturing, right? Low numbers of workers, and also more towards to working hand in hand, human and robotics. Yeah.
So looking at green initiatives, which you mentioned just now, so obviously it's a very important factor for investors to come in for these industrial parks. Again, it brings to the question of other countries as well, offering the same initiatives. What again would stand us apart in terms of offering these green initiatives? You already said that what would attract investors would be specialized tax breaks and what have you. But for the green initiatives, are we there in terms of competing with our neighboring countries?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of green initiative, we are still at the infant stage in terms of town park certification, not building. Building, we have lots of building factories that are green rated. But in terms of the whole development being green rated, we're still at the early stage, right? But we'd like to urge all our peers here to set certain standard, or even the councils to make it mandatory to be green rated. And that will set us apart from our neighboring country, yes. In terms of green rating, neighboring country is still very early stage, right? They tend towards to move towards to incentive, but not into green elements, green concept. I do hope. Our park, HVM Park, will set a new benchmark in terms of green rating, ESG compliance.
Right. Because everywhere is looking at green ratings right now. So, in your opinion, are we on the right track in terms of fast tracking this?
Oh yes. I strongly believe that we should, all products, all buildings in Malaysia should be green rated. So that I think Malaysia will hit the net zero carbon emission by 2050.
Right. I'd like your opinion on this as well. Now, there's an Indian pharmaceutical company that plans to invest about 10 to 12 billion in a neighboring country to build a pharmaceutical industrial park. Now, two things here. Firstly, what is the viability of setting up a specific industrial park? Will something like this work in Malaysia?
It'll be tough, because if the size is looking at 400-500 acres, and we have the ecosystem just to do pharmaceutical products, right? But there's a large piece of land to fill up all this, right? And it's going to be quite tough because you have to have support from ecosystem. Not all manufacturers will supply to a single industry, pharmaceutical. It could be manufacturing for pharmaceutical or other components like automotive as well. So I think it will be a great challenge. It will be a great challenge to have a single type of industry in one industrial park. Yeah, right. It will be a huge challenge.
Okay, so you think that for us, we still should retain the multi-purpose parks, industrial parks?
Yeah, multi-purpose, clean manufacturing, right? Probably the right ecosystem. Yeah.
So now, lastly, what are the key criteria that investors consider when setting up a business in any location? You've already mentioned tax incentives and green initiatives, but when it comes to long-term investments, what are they looking for?
Well,
based on your conversation.
Yes, location, connectivity, right? The what we say, what we call infrastructure readiness, gas pipeline, the rails. Is, for example, I quote you, the ECRL is passing through Serinda. So basically, it's going to help to develop the northern state of Selangor here, thing. So basically, you mentioned the key points for property development is location, location, location. Back to the first slightly is location, concept, and timing.
Right. Eric, thank you very much for appearing on Money Matters. It's been a pleasure having you with us. Looks like this is all the time we have for this week. Thank you for joining us on Money Matters. We'll be back next week with more money insights that matter. Till then, I'm Zahir Khalzunong Abdullah. Thanks for watching and have a great weekend.